Hello, and welcome to Autosight.net. Today we will be talking about some of the new technology that's coming into the new vehicles that are coming out in next few years. One of the big things that's coming up that's new is biometric technology being included inside the vehicle for safety or personalization reasons. So what's happening now with some of the vehicles that they're using as concept cars is they're using fingerprint scanners. There's been talk of even some of the higher end models, eye scanners, retina scanners, to determine which driver you are, if you actually are one of the actual drivers of the vehicle, and it includes what settings you're going to be on for your seats, your radio presets, everything. And it's actually pretty cool. There's a lot of technology that's starting to come up now that was promised, back, in the time of the Jetsons. We're having cars that are coming up that are anonymous, that are driving themselves completely. We're having new technologies coming in on the, other vehicles that are maybe not as expensive. We're having, which has smart cruise control, lane detection warning, all this kind of stuff. So it's great that we're getting so much new technology in on these cars. But along with that comes some added safety concerns that I would like to bring up. Back not too long ago, Edmunds.com made an article, and the article was talking about how a Jeep Cherokee was actually hacked into by a group of hackers, and they were actually able to take full control over this Jeep Cherokee and make it stop dead in traffic. The owner had no way of being able to restart the vehicle, to get it to move. They actually had to take off the hacking protocol to be able to get the car to move again. Once Chrysler was notified of this attack that was done, even though it was a controlled attack, Chrysler did go ahead and issue a recall for 1.4 million of their vehicles, including that Jeep Cherokee that was used in the demonstration. We're talking the 2014, the 2015 Jeep Cherokee that they did the recall on. And they said that they would make it so that it's impossible when the car is going over a certain speed for anything to happen to, as far as it being hacked into, as far as the system or any of the safety restraints of the vehicle. So I mean, they did a pretty good job of being able to do some damage control there. But that's just the beginning. We're starting to get into a more digitalized world. Cars that are self-driving, new safety features that are using biometrics. What's going to happen if someone does hack into your vehicle? Your vehicle is carrying you, your loved ones, and if someone hacks into your vehicle and they have full control over it, we're not just talking about your radio. We're talking about your ability to steer. Cars have electronic steering nowadays. It's part of the ability to be able to use, smart cruise control and, a lot of the really great steering features we have. It requires the ability to have electronic steering because that way they can readjust. If it was not electronic steering, they would not be able to readjust themselves to keep you into a lane. So, as we start getting more and more into technology, and actually having it in our daily lives, it's being involved in our vehicles at all times, it's becoming more and more apparent that we need to make safety a number one concern, and not just in the accidents, but also in the technologies that we're putting into our vehicles and have safeguards to prevent people from being able to hack into our systems. Your GPS has where you live, where you work. It knows where you normally go. And a lot of the new cars out nowadays, it will always find a direct way or a better way for you to go to and from work and to and from home. Well, that's information that can be available to a hacker. So, now we're not just talking about your credit card being used against you, or, your mail being sabotaged. Now we're looking into your car being a major player in identity theft. So there's a lot of things that we need to keep in mind as we're going into a digital age more and more so, where cars are driving themselves. They've taken the driver out of the car. It's really soon enough. There's not going to be a driver. There'll be an owner, but there won't be a driver because the car is going to drive itself. And when you have an enthusiast like me, I'm a big enthusiast. I like driving my car. It's taking that fun out of it. You know, cars are limiting themselves. Cars are steering and parking and everything for themselves. So it's taking the driver out of the equation. And that driver is a safeguard in some aspects. Even though there's human error, there's also computer error. Computers can fail, they can get hacked into, and now what would have been a mechanical thing, you put it on the brake to stop your vehicle, now is an electronic thing. It's electronically sending a signal to the brakes to stop your vehicle. And what if that signal is blocked? What if that the module that sends that signal has been sabotaged? Is something to keep in mind. And as we get more into biometrics being put into the vehicle, we're hoping that they'll put a lot more safeguards into it because, again, that's not 100% foolproof. And I don't think you really can make it 100% foolproof. So you've got to have safeguards. You gotta have something to keep people safe. And regardless of how you personally feel about the way cars are coming, whether or not you like the technology or you don't like the technology, it's coming. The bottom line is it's coming. And so I think we as automotive enthusiasts should really keep an eye out on what technology is coming out today, because it used to just be passive technology, meaning blind spot warning. That was passive. It was let you know there was a car there. It didn't try to adjust anything for you. It was just letting you know that there was something there. The original reverse systems, the reverse object detection systems when you're in reverse, that was passive. It's beeping and letting you know that there's something in your way, a vehicle, a person, what have you. There's something blocking your path and you should stop. But it was always up to the driver to make the decision whether it was something of danger or not. Sometimes it was just a high driveway and it would beep. You know it's okay, so you continue forward. Or you might make a mistake and you might hit something behind you. But it was always the driver's decision. And the thing about it that, as we're getting into smart cruise control, is if you have smart cruise control on your vehicle and you're on the freeway and that system fails, if you were in the car because of the system, guess who's at the end responsible? You. You are. Not the car. Now mind you, yeah, I know you can go and sue the manufacturer for the defect, but that's not going to save the person's life that you hit, and that's not going to save you from having your car being on a tow truck. It's not. The civil liability is still there. And it's still originally going to fall on you until you prove that the vehicle is responsible. And if you can't prove it, it's really hard to win those cases. So as we're getting more and more to computers controlling our lives, you need to keep in mind, you are the owner of the vehicle. You are the driver of the vehicle. You are responsible for everything that vehicle does or does not do. If the vehicle is supposed to have done something and it didn't do it and it causes an accident, you are still responsible because you have to prove that you were not negligent. That the car was negligent in itself, not you. So, again, when we're looking in these new cars, the new Mercedes-Benzes, the new BMWs, that have a lot of these great features, and they're great, they're awesome. I really enjoy having cars that can do all this tech features. I'm a tech person, I love that. But the thing to keep in mind is you need to always have your own safeguards. You need to always monitor the system. Because if it fails, it does not change the liability. It doesn't. You have to prove that it failed on its own. Because if you can't prove that it failed on its own, the civil liability is still yours. So, this is kind of a short video as far as, really getting in depth with some of the biometrics. I really want to do some more looking into it and reporting, more to you guys on what I find. But I found that article about the Jeep Cherokee at Edmunds.com, and that prompted me to want to make a video because it's something that really did not get a whole lot of news. It was on the news. I do remember when it first happened, it was on the news for like a day, but then it stopped. That's typically how this works. So I do want to put it back out there that this was an issue. Chrysler did the right thing. They did recall the vehicles and they did put safeguards in. So, cahoots to Chrysler for their fast action. But this just opens the door. This is a Pandora's box. When you start having all of these computers in a vehicle, monitoring everything from your climate control, your brake, your steering, everything is controlled by computers. And as we're getting more and more computerized with smart cruise control, all this and that, that's another computer that can fail. So, just wanted to get you guys that information. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment below and enjoy the rest of your day.